So, some huge news just came out of the world of wildlife conservation. A major global summit just wrapped up, and believe me, the decisions made there are going to have a massive impact on some of our planet's most incredible and vulnerable species.
Let's just jump right in, because this single sentence says it all. We're talking about a complete rewrite of the rules for dozens of species. And this affects everything, from the sharks swimming in our oceans to the plants used in traditional medicines. It's a huge story about wildlife, global trade, and really, the future of conservation itself.
So, where did all of this happen? Well, it all went down at the 20th CITES conference, hosted in the amazing city of Samarkand, Uzbekistan. This was actually the first time the summit was ever held in Central Asia, and the decisions they made are going to be felt around the world for years to come.
Okay, so what's the big headline number you need to remember from this summit? It's 77. That's how many species got brand new protections or had their existing protections seriously beefed up. This is a really big deal for global conservation.
And what's so cool is the sheer variety of animals we're talking about here. I mean, you've got the absolutely majestic whale sharks and manta rays from the open ocean, all the way to the totally unique land and marine iguanas of the Galapagos. All of these guys just got the highest level of international protection possible, under what's called Appendix 1. We'll get into exactly what that means in just a minute.
But these summits aren't just about adding names to a list. There's some really complex international negotiation that goes on. A perfect example is the whole debate around the Google plant, which is used in traditional medicine. The EU wanted it listed for protection right away, but India stepped in and argued, hey, let's get some solid science, some real data, before we make a decision. It's a fascinating look at how conservation is becoming more and more data-driven.
So to really get why all this matters, we need to understand the organization that makes it all happen. So what exactly is CITES? Okay, so CITES stands for the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. I know, it's a mouthful, but its mission is actually pretty simple and incredibly powerful. Make sure that when we trade wild animals and plants across borders, we're not driving them to extinction.
And CITES isn't some new thing. It's been around for a while. The whole agreement was first hammered out way back in 1973, and it officially got going in 1975. Today, it's grown into this huge global alliance of 185 countries, including India, all working together to protect our planet's biodiversity. Now, here's the part you really got to get. Joining CITES is totally voluntary. No one forces a country to sign up. But once you're in, you are legally bound to follow the rules. That means you have to create your own national laws to make sure the CITES regulations are actually enforced on the ground.
So, how does a global agreement signed in a conference room actually protect an iguana in the Galapagos or a shark out in the middle of the Pacific? Let's break down how the system actually works. The answer is in this really smart, three-tiered system called the CITES appendices. The easiest way to think about it is like a traffic light for wildlife trade. Appendix I, that's the big red light. It's for species that are on the very brink of extinction. All commercial trade is completely banned, period. Appendix 2 is like the yellow light. These are species that could become endangered if we're not careful, so their trade is strictly controlled. And then there's Appendix 3, which is a really cool tool where one country can basically ask the rest of the world for help in protecting one of its native species. A global agreement is only as strong as the actions taken by each country. So let's bring this all home and take a look at how a country like India is turning these international promises into real action on the ground. What's so amazing about India is that conservation isn't just a policy, it's literally written into the Constitution. The Constitution actually says that it's a fundamental duty of every single citizen to protect the environment, and it directs the government to safeguard wildlife. I mean, that's a powerful statement of commitment from everyone. So how do you turn that constitutional promise into action? Well, that's where the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972 comes in. This is the absolute backbone of India's conservation laws, and it's been updated over the years to directly include all the rules from CITES. But of course, you can have all the laws in the world, but they don't mean much if they're not enforced, right? In the fight against illegal wildlife trafficking, India's first line of defense is the Wildlife Crime Control Bureau, or the WCCB. And these guys are incredible. Their work spans every single level. from deep within local forests all the way up to complex global operations where they're working side by side with international agencies like Interpol to take down massive trafficking rings. And all of this vital work, of course, needs support. It needs money and resources. That's where schemes like the integrated development of wildlife habitats come in. The central government uses this to provide financial and technical help to states all across the country, making sure these conservation efforts have what they need to succeed. So look, the results from COP20 are a huge victory for wildlife conservation, no doubt about it. But the threats to our planet's incredible biodiversity, they're always changing, always evolving. And that leaves us with a really important question. Are our strategies for protecting them evolving fast enough?